Rumor has it Taylor Swift is done, finished, donezo, finito with being godmother, at least for Blake Lively and her 50 living children. Because apparently Taylor Swift is also godmother to another celebrity's kid. That lady is busy. The whole godmother thing is a foreign concept to me, but hey, let people do what they want to do. Let's get into it because if this is true, like I feel bad for the kids. I also don't think it holds the same weight as like she's cutting the kids off. But either way, let's get into it. Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of F Around and Find Out. I'm your host, Elsie. I appreciate you for being here. I want to thank you guys so much for the support you showed the last video with me and Little Girl Attorney when we answered the questions. I appreciate that a lot. But let's jump into this new mess because if you haven't heard by now, Taylor Swift is apparently pulling out, taking a step back, pulling away from Blake and her 50 children. She wants nothing to do with her or them kids. Now, before we get to talking about Blake, apparently Taylor Swift is also godmother to Jamie King, you know, the actress from White Chicks. Jamie King's kid. I didn't know that. But the streets are also saying Taylor and Jamie King are no longer friends or the best of friends. But she still seems to be a good godmother to the child. So before we get into the Blake Lively of it all, Marie Claire has this article out that says Taylor and Jamie King, this came out back in March, by the way, Taylor Swift and Jamie King do not speak anymore, but Swift is still an amazing godmother to King's son. And what does that mean to you? Because I don't know what that would mean to me. Being a godmother to my kid, but not speaking to me means what? Like, we don't speak, but you make arrangements. We don't speak, but you make arrangements to come and take my son to the park. Like, what does that mean? Do you buy my son gifts? Are you talking on the phone? What does it mean to be a godmother to my kid when you and I have no relationship if we're not speaking? Swift doesn't let anything deter her from being a full bibbity boobity boo about her godmother duties. Today, in news that confirms obvious things, Taylor Swift is an excellent person to ask to be a godmother. You know, if she happens to be on your short list. Swift is notorious for being pretty relentless, dedicated to being amazing at literally everything she does. It shouldn't be surprising that for anyone to learn that she doesn't let little things like falling completely out of touch with a godchild's parent deter her from being a full bibbity bobbity boo, about her godmother duties. According to a news report, the Fortnite singer has continued to be a doting godmother to Jamie King's youngest son, Leah Thames, even though she and King have completely drifted apart in recent years. When King asked Swift to be Leo's godmother in 2015, the pair were extremely close, but a source close to King told the U.S. Sun that sadly, that is no longer the case. Taylor and Jamie are not close anymore and don't talk, but there is still love, the insider explained, adding that even though she and King aren't close anymore, Swift has remained a presence in the godson's life. Not only does the singer repeatedly send Leo gifts on his birthday and other special occasions, but the source said she would be there in a heartbeat if he ever needed anything. She has always taken her godmother roles and duties very seriously and is the most caring and thoughtful person Jamie could have asked for to be there for Leo. The source added, but their relationship is a lot different now than it was back then when Jamie asked Taylor to be his godmother. There is no regular contact. This probably doesn't surprise King, who wasted no time after Swift accepted the honor before openly gushing that the singer was going to be the best godmother in the whole world. I always thought if I were to have another child, that she would be the ideal godmother because the way she not only treats me, but the way she treats other human beings, King told E! News at the time. She's so loving and so giving and so generous, and she does everything from the heart, and she's incredibly brave and authentic. It's a very rare thing to come across. Swift did some very public gushing of her own about her godmother role, including a particularly sweet moment during the 1989 World Tour when she paid tribute to her godson and the impact he'd had on her before a performance of her 2010 song, Never Grow Up. I think that's, oh, darling, don't you ever grow up. I hope that's a song. I wrote Never Grow Up when I was like 18 or 19, but my friend just had a baby and she made me godmother of it. And I was holding this little baby the other night and I was just thinking differently. She told the audience at Santa Clara Levi's Stadium in 2015 before performing the sentimental song. When you're holding onto something that's so innocent and perfect and has no idea what's coming for it, in the world. Luckily for Leo, whatever the world throws at him, he'll always have the closest thing to a real life fairy godmother to turn to. And I have no idea what the relationship Jamie King and Taylor had, but like, I mean, this makes sense if, they had like a really solid relationship. I'm talking about 2015. I don't even know when Blake and Taylor became friends, but I'm sure it wasn't that far back. Or even if it was, that's one kid, I feel like it's more genuine to have one kid, be a godchild to somebody versus, oh, every other kid I'm having, you're Taylor Swift. And probably Blake saw the relationship Taylor had with Jamie King's son and was like, you know what? I want that for my kids too. Well, now, unfortunately for Blake, it looks like she's catching the Jamie King virus because it has been reported by Radar Online and other, publications. And now that Taylor Swift will revoke being godmother to Blake Lively's kids as Paris war goes nuclear after singer's engagement reveal. That now, do I know that I believe this, or do I even believe it? I don't know. Again, I don't know Taylor as a person. I don't know Blake as a person. Do I think that Taylor wants to be like an official godmother, like on a paper somewhere, like if anything happens to me? Which my process with that is, Blake has so many family members, her sisters, brother-in-law, all of that, her mom, everybody. Ryan has his people. If anything were to happen to two of them, which I believe is typically the godmother role, or to kind of guide your kids, Taylor's busy. She's just about to start a family. She does not have time to be your kid's godmother, right? So maybe her not being available is a good thing. If anything was to arise, that needed, if anything was to happen that needed, guidance, godmothership, your sister can handle that. Blake, Robin can handle that. Ryan's family can handle that. If the kids needed to be taken by somebody, taken care of by somebody, your family members can do that. It doesn't have to be Taylor. To make more than one of your children god kids to this woman was always ludicrous. And I always thought it was for show. But let's hear what Radar Online has to say. Taylor Swift will be quitting as godmother to Blake Lively's kids amid engagement feud. Taylor Swift is preparing to sever one of the most personal ties in her feud with Blake Lively, with insiders telling Radar Online that pop phenom plans to revoke her role as godmother to the actress's children. A source close to Swift says Taylor feels she has no choice but to draw a line. Their friendship collapsed months ago, and she doesn't want blurred obligations lingering. That includes her godmother role. She's already considered issuing a formal notice either through a mutual friend or even a lawyer to make it clear that she's stepping away. Since the lawsuit, Lively has made repeated but unsuccessful attempts to reconnect. Friends of the singer says she ignores texts, voicemails, and emails from Lively, leaving her former friend to conclude the friendship is finished. A second insider said Blake has tried repeatedly to get Taylor to have a conversation, but every attempt was ignored. She's now finally realized Taylor has moved on. Now she avoids bringing her up at all. It's as if she's wiped her from her world. This is so dramatic and so ridiculous. The absence of any congratulations online to Swift was particularly striking because the singer is godmother to Lively's daughters, James 9, Inez 7, and Betty 4. That's a lot. She hasn't even had time to have her own kids, and she got to take care of all your baby kids, whose names inspired characters in the singer's 2020 album Folklore. For years, her friendship with Lively was a staple of Swift's so-called girl squad, with the two families vacationing together. According to sources, Swift now views those ties as unsustainable. One source said this goes beyond the question of a wedding invite. It's about setting limits. Taylor doesn't want the godmother role hanging over her head or being used against her. She wants to close it off clearly, and that could mean doing it in a formal way. Can you imagine having her lawyer write up something that says, "I'm not your kid's godmother"? Wow. And these kids are going to grow up to learn this, by the way, because your mother is a nitwit. Now, The Cut is also entering the chat with your own little question. Will Blake Lively be invited to Taylor Swift's wedding? And I feel like the answer to that is a big fat no. You should already know that by now, but let's see what they have to say about it. They published this article as of yesterday. If Taylor Swift is the type A mastermind that we all believe her to be, she has already started on wedding planning. Maybe she has venues in mind or knows what song she wants to walk down the aisle to. But the big question is this: who's on the guest list? Specifically, will Blake Lively be there when Swift says her vows? The two women who were friends for nearly a decade before the legal troubles reportedly blew things up seems to be completely on the outs at the moment. How did we even get here? And will it be possible for them to repair their friendship in time for one of Lively's daughters to be a flower girl? This is just ridiculous. Let's check in on what exactly has been going on with these two. We don't need to do that. We know what's been going on. But writing this article, asking if one of the kids would even be flower girl, like, excuse me, Travis Kelce's nieces not exist? Does Ellie not exist? Ellie is literally a photocopy of Travis. In what world would one of those kids not be flower girls? Let's be fucking for real. The rest of this article from The Cut is literally just regurgita of the case. And I think this is just them feeling FOMO, like, oh my God, everybody's writing about this. We also have to. And they decided to write this nonsense about this nitwit. But I have nothing about Blake Lively. And they decided to write this about Blake Lively, but there is no new information here. And again, there's no way one of Blake's kids was about to be Flower Girl, even if they were in communication. So, like, this is just a lazy article just to get clicks, you know? But with that said, where do you guys stand on the Godmother thing? We don't do the Godmother thing in my country. Like, it's kind of like everybody pitches in, it's a village. If anybody needs help, the help would come. We don't appoint a specific person, you know? So it's a very foreign concept to me. But where do you guys stand on the Godmother of it all? And let me know, leave your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate you for being here. Please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye.